Back at home, we have a lot of work to do. But from here, Earth sure looks like a perfect world. These were the first words of billionaire businessman Jared Isaacman, who has become the first person in history to perform a commercial spacewalk. On September 12th, Isaacman became part of a new frontier, not as a government astronaut, but as a private citizen, flying in a commercial spacecraft he personally funded. This groundbreaking mission, named Polaris Dawn, is the first of 3 that Jared Isaacman has planned in collaboration with SpaceX and its founder, Elon Musk. Launched aboard a Falcon 9 rocket, Polaris Dawn aims to push the limits of human spaceflight, advancing the technology that will eventually allow humans to travel deeper into space. Polaris Dawn has already made headlines just hours after liftoff, when the Dragon capsule's thrusters fired to elevate the spacecraft into a record-breaking orbit, reaching more than 870 miles above Earth. The mission took the crew farther from the planet than any human had gone since the Apollo lunar missions of the 1970s. For reference, that's 3.5 times the altitude at which the ISS orbits. At this altitude, the team faced greater exposure to cosmic radiation and increased danger from space debris, which are constant reminders of the risks involved in space exploration. After completing 6 orbits at this extraordinary height, the Dragon spacecraft fired its thrusters once again, lowering itself into a safer orbit where the mission's highlight, a spacewalk, would take place. The live-streamed event kicked off at 6:12 a.m. EDT, 165 miles above the northern Atlantic, just off the coast of Ireland. With open microphones capturing every word, the crew sealed themselves in their spacesuits and started breathing pure oxygen as they got ready to step outside the capsule. By 6:30 a.m., with the Dragon spacecraft hurtling through space at over 15,000 miles per hour, they began releasing air from the cabin. By then, the spacecraft had already passed over the wide expanse of the southern Indian Ocean. Just a few minutes later, at 6:51 a.m., Isaacman stepped onto a special platform called Skywalker, ready to venture into space. Looking down, he saw a stunning view of Earth turning below him, a beautiful sunlit stretch of the planet with clouds over the ocean between Australia and Antarctica. But the moment didn't last long. As the Dragon spacecraft moved quickly through space, it entered the darkness of orbital night, crossing the point where Earth's daylight fades into night. As Isaacman stood on the edge of space, gazing at the line between light and darkness, he expressed a deep connection to Earth.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, Earth sure looks like a perfect world. Alright, SpaceX, BD1, I'm going to step into.
The stunning view from space left the Polaris Dawn crew in awe, and thankfully, they returned safely. Despite the crew's intense training and numerous simulations, only Jared Isaacman had previous space experience from his 2021 Inspiration 4 mission. What made the mission even more challenging was the fact that the newly designed EVA suits had never been tested in the tough conditions of space before. Testing these new EVA suits was one of the primary goals of the mission. They are a big improvement over previous designs, specifically made for spacewalks. With a sleek black and white look, they include several upgrades, like flexible joints for better movement, temperature controls for comfort, and a helmet with a digital display. These suits are designed not only for spacewalks to maintain spacecraft, but also for SpaceX's long-term plans. They might one day be used on missions to the moon or even Mars, as Elon Musk moves forward with his vision of settling humans on the Red Planet. It's important to note that spacewalks are incredibly challenging. Out of over 475 spacewalks conducted so far, nearly 1 in 5 has encountered problems, many of which can quickly become life-threatening. For example, during the first U.S. spacewalk in 1965, Ed White's suit inflated, making it hard for him to get back into his spacecraft. In 1966, Eugene Cernan's helmet fogged up from excessive sweating, cutting his spacewalk short. More recently, in 2013, Luca Parmitano nearly drowned when water leaked into his helmet during a spacewalk outside the International Space Station. One of the biggest challenges during a spacewalk is microgravity and orientation. In the weightlessness of space, astronauts do not have the usual sense of direction. Up, down, and sideways have no meaning, so staying oriented can be challenging. Astronauts must be extremely careful not to drift away from their work site, which could disorient them. Then we have the problem of temperature fluctuations. The temperature outside a spacecraft can swing dramatically, from extremely cold in the shade to incredibly hot in direct sunlight. Astronauts rely on their suit's cooling system to regulate body temperature, but rapid changes can still be uncomfortable and dangerous. Finally, as mentioned earlier, there can be emergencies. There's always the possibility of equipment malfunctions, such as suit leaks or loss of air supply, which would require immediate, life-saving action. Astronauts are trained for emergencies, but responding correctly under pressure is another challenge altogether. For the Polaris Dawn crew, the only issue they faced during their spacewalk was some bulging hatch seals, which were quickly managed. By 7:53 a.m., the cabin was repressurized, and just 5 minutes later, with the crew back in their seats, the spacewalk was complete. A faint smell of gunpowder, a result of space exposure, lingered in the cabin, but both the crew and mission control could finally relax.